About 1 million people, mostly of the Tutsi community and moderate Hutus, were killed in the genocide during a massacre within the span of 100 days. A survivor of Rwandan genocide shares memory of her tales relating to rape and unwanted pregnancy. Her 27-year-old son observed that his mother was always bitter anytime he asked for the identity of his father. These kinds of stories are the ones for which Rwanda holds commemoration and mourning their loved ones, with this year marking the 27th anniversary of the deadly incident. More in this report.
The names of the characters in this report have been altered to protect their identities. When I remember that no one is left on both my mother and father's sides, I feel so much pain and sorrow. She says those who killed her family also raped her when she was 25 years old, at that time during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, and later found out she was pregnant. We were raped. There was no one to call on for help. I discovered later that I was pregnant and I couldn't tell who the father was. When the time came, I gave birth. This woman, who is now visually impaired, says during the first years she didn't love her child. This is something her child affirms as well. I never played with my child like normally parents would play with their babies. Never did I feel that way in my heart. Her child, whom we named Kazungu, is now almost graduating at 27 years of age. He says his mother's hatred was due to the way he was conceived, and it was obvious to him. He says he was often lied to by his mother each time he asked her about his origin. Each time I asked her who my father was, she would tell a name of my uncle, to a point when I had to fill in school forms in primary. On the part where I had to write my father's name, she would come up with different names every term, and I finished primary with about 12 different names of my father. He says he finally got to know about his origin after his mother told him. His mother says she is proud of what her son has achieved so far, despite the upbringing amidst difficult times. One of my achievements is being an excellent student in school, because if I'd focused on my background, then it would have distorted me, since I don't have a father to do or to say anything to me in case I perform poorly. This also happened to one Diana and her mother, who says she was also raped multiple times during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. She explained how she later discovered that she was pregnant. That family was full of Interahamwe from the first to the last born. They were all educated and well known up to this moment, if I could mention their names. From them, that's why I had whispers that I'm pregnant. I realized it later on. The thing all these children have in common is the pain of constantly being lied to by their parents about their origin at an early age. As we know, when a child starts school, he or she is often asked about his or her parents or where they come from. During all that time, my mom had never told me anything of that. As I continued to grow up, I kept on asking her who my father was, and she kept on telling me that she shall tell me someday. As I kept insisting, she told me that my grandfather's name. Although after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, their parents and the rest of the family members didn't love them, after they healed from the traumas, they began to be grateful they're alive and proud of what they had become. A coordinator of Sevota, Godeliva Mukasarasi, one of the organizations that were established shortly after the genocide against the Tutsi with a purpose to care for the genocide survivors, says that women who suffer from such trauma are treated and they do heal from it. We are happy to see them recover from their traumas, although they never go away completely, but they manage to control them. As they live well with the society, and their relationship with their children also keeps getting better. They've also managed to contribute to the development of the country without constantly suffering from mental or other diseases like before, and they are now involved in many sectors. The Sevotha organization has managed to treat over 400 women with such traumas, with 100 still recovering. Experts in the history of genocide say that rape is one of the most powerful weapons which were used during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, and that those who were victims of rape require to be treated with greater discretion.